Shalom, shalom, Israel. First, giving all glory, honor, praise to the Most High Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, and His Son Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His brother Braziliah coming with some more edification and more exhortation through the Spirit, right? Be ye not unequally yoked, right, with unbelievers, man. Don't sit there and know that you're an Israelite and cast away your vows to be accepted of men, right? You have to stand firm for the Lord because, and that's what the Lord did. He stood firm for for the Most High, right? Even though people were mocking him, they was trying to confound him. He stood stiffly, right? And we are to walk in that same manner, right? This is the book of First Corinthians, chapter 5, and verse 11. But now I have written unto you not to keep company if any man, right? So this breakdown, right? These precepts are going to say man, but this when you read this the scriptures through the Spirit, it's speaking to man, but you can include women, right? Men and women are interchangeable in most cases, right? So when it says men, not to keep company with men, don't think as a sister, oh, I just don't keep company with the man acting like this. No, don't keep company with the sister if she acting like this, or a man. And a man, don't keep company with the sister if she's acting like this, or a man, right? So it's interchangeable, right? So men, women, and children, right? Accept these verses as an admonition to, correct your actions, right? It's not just meaning men specific. It's not gender specific, right? These precepts, right? So again, this is First Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 11. But now I have written unto you not to keep company if any man that is called a brother be a fornicator or covetous or an idolater or a railer or a drunkard or an extortioner, with such an one know not to eat. Right? So when it says no not to eat, hey, literally don't keep any company with, right? Let's well, yeah, let's do it. I don't even know what it says in the other I don't even know what it says in the other uh translations, but let's look. Let's go for it. All right. First Corinthians 5:11. All right, let's what is it? NIV. All right, let's see this. All right. It says, but now I am writing to you that you must not associate with anyone who claims to be a brother or a sister, but is sexually immoral or greedy or an idolater or a slanderer or a drunkard or a swindler. Do not even eat with such people. So again, it's saying do not eat, meaning don't like share a table with these people per se. Meaning don't have redeem the time, right? Let's get that. Uh, Second Corinthians. Uh, no, yeah, I'll hold off on that one, right? But redeeming the time, right? Because you don't want to sit there and hold a whole conversation, and these people are just starting to rub off on you, and you just letting it happen. You just like, yeah, you right, you right. No, man, hey, let's get a precept. It's the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, and verse 11. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. They're going off, and you're accepting it, and you're saying, yeah, you're right. They saying, oh, you out with your homie from the world, and then y'all talking, and you say, man, you see somebody, they funking with, and they say, man, I should beat that nigga ass right now. You say, yeah, man, it is, you know. yo, so like for language, when you say you start agreeing with, you going off, man. You gotta reprove the brother. That's love. You can't check. You can't uh change your ways for love, man. Trim your ways for love, right? Let's get it in the law. All right. It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor. You rebuke your neighbor when they're going off. You correct them. You don't sit there and jack them up, shake them. You don't rebuke like that. I mean, some you do, as the book of Jude says, 1:26, right? Or 25, 25 and 26. Some you say with fear, right? With some you say with compassion. You could reprove them. But this is a brother. You reprove a brother. But this live is going into being not unequally yoked or being unequally yoked. So, like, don't be unequally yoked. Don't sit there as a righteous man. You're sitting with an unrighteous man and not willing to reprove them, right? That's going off. That's wanting to be loved and accepted by men. But that's not thus saith the Lord. That's not the condition of this battle. The condition of the battle is to be hated of the world. Literally. Let's get that. Let's get that in the book of John, chapter 15. Right? This is the condition. It says, verse 18, if the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. This is the Lord speaking, Yahweh Shai, our King, King of Kings, right, Lord of Lords. He's saying if the world hate you, know that it hated him first. Because why? Because he's telling you to come out of the world. This is, I mean, it's just, it don't add up. What's that? First John, I think it's 5. Yeah, I'll get 2 and 15. It's the book of First John chapter 2 and verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, man. That's all that's in the world. So when you come out of that and you choose to be ye separate, as the Lord is commanding Israel to be, you're going to be hated. But that's the condition of the battle. That's what the Lord told you right here in John 15. Let's read it again. If the world hate you, if pride hate you, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, if that hates you, right, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world will love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. So because you are separate, the Lord is going to, he's going to esteem you in the long run. But right now, you're going to have to humble yourself. You're going to have to be low, right? And that's being hated. You're being looked over, stomped on, pressed down, afflicted, and just hated, man. You're not being loved by the world, but that's another admonition to gather. You got to gather with brothers, like-minded brothers. You don't just gather with brothers, right? Gather with like-minded individuals, right? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 27 and verse 12. So like, yeah, I get that. I'll get that later. Actually, I can get that now. If thou be among the indiscreet, observe the time, but be continually among men of understanding. So going back to that, observe, redeeming the time, right? That was the one on Ephesians 5 and 16. So like, I couldn't find that earlier, but I had that precept. This is the book of Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 16. Redeeming the time because the days are evil, right? So that's what you do. When you're among the indiscreet, you redeem the time, right? You watch the clock. You say, okay, I don't know, 5 more minutes with this brother because I have, maybe we're waiting on a bus together. I'm on a shift or, whatever it may be, you know, just redeem the time because the days are evil. Don't sit there and hold company with them. Don't have them at your table, right? Don't eat with them. Not saying that you can't eat with the brother, right? You can't eat with the sister. I'm not saying that, but you don't. Literally, that's what that scripture is saying. But on a larger scale, what it's saying is don't exchange spirits. Don't build with that person, right? All right, so let's get the book of well, I wanted to get the other precepts. All right, chapter 37 and verse 12. Right? But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. So that is who you want to be with. You want to be continually with a godly man. Why? Because you can build with each other. Let's get the book of Ecclesiastes. What can you do with a godly man? What can you do with a godly woman? What's the profit in that? Why can't you just be with everybody else? Everybody's just one. Everybody's just one love. Why we can't have one love, Barzia? Why does the Lord say this? Hey, I'm just showing you what the Lord said. I'm just reading the precepts, breaking it down through the Spirit. Right? This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4 and verse 9. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. Now, if you look at this and break this down through the Spirit, just plainly, if you have somebody working for righteousness, the person that's working wickedness, they're working on two separate things. They're on two separate sides of the spectrum. They're not working the same. So even if you have two different people joined together, they're still working on two different things. One is working righteousness on the right hand side. One is working wickedness on the left hand side. So they don't have a good reward for their labor because they're both separate, right? They're not even working. They're not even fulfilling this precept. They're two, but they're one, right? They're separate. They're not of one mind, right? That's what the precept just said in Sirach 27. In 37, whose mind is according to thy mind, right? So going back to it, Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 9, verse 10. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But like I said, if they're two separate sides of the spectrum, it's like a teeter-totter or a swing set or whatever that thing was called. I think it was called teeter-totter. Whatever it was called, that thing that goes up and down like this. If you got one on this side, he's down. This one is up. Then when he goes down, he goes up. But say if the one falls, he's not going to lift up his fellow, right? If he fell over here and he's all the way up in the air, they're on two different sides. He's not on the same side, so he can't pick up his fellow. He's on the other side. He's working wickedness, right? But if you got two people working wickedness, hey, their reward, that's off. That's on the left hand side. But we're speaking on righteousness, right? If you're with a brother or if you're a sister and you're with a sister in righteousness, there's a good reward for your labor when you're with a godly man and a godly woman, because one will lift up his fellow. We just read that will sorrow with you, right? He will lift you up. He's gonna bring you a precept and say, "Hey, brother, I know what you're going through, or I may not know what you're going through, but I have read this account, and let me show you what the Lord said about this similar situation, right? That will sorrow with thee, right? If you're sad, he's sad, right? This is the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 10. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth. And that goes back to that precept, right? Well, let's get it. First Corinthians, I didn't actually read it. I think I just went over it. Chapter 6 and verse 14. So like it. Right? First Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 14. So like it. Second Corinthians. I'm like, what? 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion have light with darkness? Right. So if you're unequally yoked, that's what the Lord is saying. What fellowship have you together? Because you're already on the opposite sides of the spectrum. If you fall, they can't lift you up. They're all the way over there, working wickedness. you're buried in the precepts, stumbled upon, the flesh. They can't pull you back into righteousness. They're on the side of flesh. They're not in the spirit, right? So it says, um, but it says, reading on Ecclesiastes 4:10, it says, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he have not another to help him up. So just going back into it, you don't have another one to help you up because you're bound to fall, right? You're a man, you're a woman, you're of the flesh, right? We live in the spirit, but we're bound by the flesh to what? To fall. So when you fall, you got to have a brother that's righteous, that's a godly man. Continually have this man and this righteous man, this righteous woman around you, right? Because when you fall, you're going to get lifted up through the spirit, through the precepts. You're going to get the understanding that you may not have had. Maybe you forgot it. Maybe you did know, but you just forgot it. But all things, man's goings of the Lord. So whatever happened, it was of the Lord. But it was to test you. Are you going by these precepts? Because if you're alone and you fall, and you're going to, wallow in your might. You're going to return to your folly. You're going to, soak in your you're going to let your iniquities weigh you down. You know. Uh, yeah, that was it on that, right? Let's get the book of Mark, chapter 4 and verse 15. Right? And this is another reason why you don't want to be alone, right? Because you're alone, and we see this all the times on the highways and hedges. And if a brother is alone, this happens, if you're not built up through the spirit and your faith, hey, you could just get overtaken, man. You sitting there receiving the word with gladness, and then this happens, right? This is the book of Mark, chapter 4, verse 15. And these are they by the wayside where the word is sown, but when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. Satan will come. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he have not another to help him up, like we just read in Ecclesiastes, right? So Satan cometh immediately, and that means just out of the blue. But if you're sitting there and you're hearkening to the word, you're understanding the precepts. Oh damn, I'm an Israelite. I never knew this was in the Bible. Satan cometh immediately. But if you have a brother right there with you, and they're in that same spirit, and they're listening, they're hearkening, they're getting it. Next thing you know, something happens. They're gonna be like, I've seen it. I've seen it, live, like for myself. I can testify. They cast, they're not too focused on the distractions, right? They can just tune out. They'll be like, oh yeah, that he's tripping. But if he's by himself, and it's just, he's tending to look over and see what's going on with the bug out. Satan, that's coming immediately to take away that word that was sown, right? So it's just another admonition. Get around righteous brothers and righteous sisters, right? All right, let's get the book of Ephesians chapter 2, right? And this whole chapter actually is fire. I don't want to get this whole thing, though. I might just read a couple verses. Ephesians, chapter 2. I'll start at verse 1. And you hath he quickened, who was dead in trespasses and sins, wherein in times past ye walked according to the course of this world, going back into it. If you were of the world will love its own. But you in the past, you walked in that way, right? But you hath he quickened, right? You Israelite man and woman that has woken up to your nationality and truth and how to serve the Most High God, right? You hath he quickened, right? According to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience, right? Satan, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lusts of our flesh, fulfilling the desires and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. But Yahweh, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, right? What did he do? Had quickened us together with Hamashiach, right? And has raised us up together and made us sit together in heavenly places in Hamashiach Yahushua. So, and he's pulled us out of the dirt. He pulled us out of our sins and our iniquities. He opened, he took the blinds off. He opened the curtains. You know how in Wizard of Oz they exposed the curtain. He pulled it back. Oh, it just that was fooling you, man. They was, you know, you was bamboozled, right? But now the jig is up. All we know, all we have to do now is keep the commandments and live, and wait for the Lord to rain down judgment upon this wicked ass world, man. And that's literally our job, right? That's all we got to do, right? So the Lord has quickened us, right? And we coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments, as in the times of old, right? As in the times past, man. And let's get the book of Samuel, chapter 15. First Samuel, so like it, chapter 15, and verse 24. And it reads, and Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now that's you going off, man. You fear people and obey their voice, right? And that's madness in the first place. You know, I've never been that type of person, but this is written for our understanding. There's people out here that has this small of a faith. You know, they're listening and then they're fearing the people's voice. They're fearing what people think about them, how they look, their status, right? They want to be accepted of men so much that they fear a damn opinion, right? The brother said, damn, right. Like, what is that? Hey, but it's written, it's for our understanding. And that's a sin, man. Because ultimately you're putting the opinion of men above the Lord, man. And say, oh, screw what the Lord saying. I can't look bad in front of this person, right? The brother put a mighty precept, right? This is the book of John, Khan, Salaki Khan, Salawam to the Akia, man. Yahweh Shem Yahshabakatam. Brother Yasha said, John chapter 12 and verse 43, for they love the praise of men. See that? More than the praise of Yahweh. They love the praise of men. That's madness, right? So if you fear the praise, looking at men, you fear the eyes of men more than you fear the eyes of the Lord, man. That's off as hell, brother. Yeah, Khan. Brother Slim D put a mighty precept, right? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 33 and verse 19. Give not thy son and thy wife, thy brother and friend, power over thee while thou livest, and give not thy goods to another, lest it repent thee and thou entreat for the same again. See that? The Lord literally said, don't give your brother, your mother. Hey, it says your wife, your son, nobody power over you, man. That's off. You belong to the Lord. You have to keep his statutes, his judgments, his commandments. You have to keep these things that's written because it's for your success. Because if you come back and the Lord say, hey, where's the fruit? Pay up. And you say, well, I kept, I kept Yasha Allah happy. I kept Slim D happy. Hey, I would, the Lord would cast me down with a mighty sword, man. And not think twice and say, depart from me, I never knew you. Because that's off. I'm fearing brothers' opinions more than I fear the Lord, man. I'm not going to keep what the Lord said because maybe they might look at me different. Well, not these brothers, right? These brothers are mighty brothers, man. Righteous brothers, man. Hopeful elect, right? But I'm saying people in the world, you fear a Ray and Don think about you, damn, not hitting the blunt, right? That's off, right? You're gonna die. And let's read it again. The book of 1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 24. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. So What did Saul know? He knew he went off. He knew he was going to die. He knew it was all bad, man. He had to repent. It was nothing he could do about that except repent and confess that fault. Because that's off as hell. I fear the damn people's voice. What does that mean? Chatter, man. Backbiting. I feared somebody said something about was gonna say something about me. So I had to change my ways. I didn't want to do what the Lord said because that's what they was talking about. That's off. That's off as hell. Right? Let's get the book of Proverbs, chapter 27. Off as hell. Off. Saul was just, hey, that was a tough lot, man. The book is Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 5, right? Open rebuke is better than secret love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful, right? Going back into being continually with a godly man who thou knowest to keep the precepts. Don't be unequally yoked with a damn nigga, man, or a wicked Eve. So like it. Don't be unequally yoked just because they'll give you a little bit of praise. They'll say, that's my N word. That's that dude. That's that B. Right? Al, Eve like to do that. Madness. But they're doing it just to be, like the brother said, the praise of men. They're getting the praise of men and they don't want to be reproved or rebuked, right? Because you're going to make them look at me differently. I don't want to reprove them because now they'll look at me differently. So you're going to go in the dark and do damn wickedness and folly, right? Or you're going to choose to, be the children of the light, like the Lord said, and stand stiffly for the Lord, right? Let me show you that you have options, right? Because it might be an Israelite watching this and they might be in that tough position and say, well, I don't really know if I should just cut them off. They're good people, but they just don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe in the commandments. Well, this live is about not being unequally yoked, right? So you have options. The Lord is not going to say don't be unequally yoked if you don't have an option. You have an option to be yoked together with somebody, right? With brothers and sisters, right? This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you that I have set before you life and death, blessings and cursings. Therefore, choose life that thou and thy seed may live, right? So you have a choice. You have blessings and cursings, duality, right? Opposite ends of the spectrum. You got that. You got both sides of it. You can't, right? You can't just be in the middle, right? Let's get that, right? Revelation chapter 3 and verse 15. I know thy works that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So right here, the Lord is saying, hey, you got to be on either side. You can't be just sitting there stagnant in the middle. You have to choose, right? So that's why the Lord said, choose. Hey, you got to choose life that thou and thy seed may live, right? And he's going to say it again in Revelation 3, right? In verse 16. So then thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot. I will spew thee out of my mouth, right? You have to make a decision. You can't be unequally yoked. You can't be lukewarm. You got to be on fire, man. You have to be for the Lord 1,000%, man. You can't be unequally yoked. You can't be 100% in and then being with a brother that's 99.9% in. It's all bad for you because he's going to promote being 99.9%. Next thing you know, you're going to start thinking 99.9% is all right. And then he's going to be, with somebody that's 99.8%. And they're going to convince him to be 99.8. He's going to convince you to be 99.8. And it's just, it goes south, right? So you have to continually be with the godly man whose mind is according to thy mind, that 100%. There's no way around it. You can't you can't force the scriptures to say something else, right? There's only a remnant that will make it, and that remnant is always going to be a of one mind, speaking the same thing, right? Let's get the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, right? And let's get this real quick, since I just walked past it. I'm gonna go back to that Ephesians, but this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, right? And this whole chapter talks about faith, right? I'm gonna just get this one verse, chapter 11 to verse 1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, right? So if you are hoping for, to be accepted of men and wanting this, pleasure and that feeling to be fulfilled, that you're accepted, you're not going to get it right now. It's over. It's dead. It's over. It's written. You're going to be hated of all people. You're going to be rejected of the world, the earth, all the people, the actual world. Everybody in this thing is going to reject you because you're living for the Lord. You're standing stiffly, right? And that's not what the world promotes. The world promotes all inclusiveness. That new world, one world order, right? Damn babble all over, right? The brother pulled 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and 8, right? Let's get that. The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 8. Khan, shalom, shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbat. I don't even know who that is, but hey, brother pulling precepts, we're gonna get into this thing, man. Right? Book of 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 8. Khan. For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle? Right? Yo, Khan. And we got to prepare ourselves for the battle. And you want to be around a man that's preparing himself for the battle, and a woman that's preparing himself for the battle. You want to be, whose mind is according to thy mind. You should be talking about scriptures, prophecies, damn preparation for the future, not for you don't want to like plan and say, okay, I got this plan because the Lord gonna laugh at it, right? But you could talk about what precepts to meditate on, what precepts you've been talking about, reading. You could just build off of each other, So through the Spirit, I wanted that Ephesians, right? Chapter 5 and verse 5, right? Book of Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 5, right? I started verse 4. Right, I started verse 3. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becoming saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks, right? Because that's your whole duty as a man, women, and children, as an Israelite, is to give praise to the Lord continuously, right? Always giving thanks, right? Because why? You don't deserve nothing. None of this. Nobody deserves nothing. We didn't ask for it. We didn't work for it. We didn't negotiate it. We didn't do nothing. The Lord is gracious, right? So we have to give thanks. How much more if you just get a random somebody come up to you and give you $100? I mean, Jake E bug out, man. My God, thank you. Thank you. They give all the thanks in the world for a damn piece of paper with a slave master on it. I mean, how much more for the Lord? So we don't really take time to consider what's going on in this thing. We're the Lord's chosen. He's given us everything, the keys to the kingdom, salvation, a royalty. We're made in his likeness. We soon to have spiritual powers, but we just take it for granted, man. So if you have that spirit that you know what's going on, you got to be around the like-minded individuals so you can build each other up and hey, just endure this thing, man. That's literally all we're gonna do. We're gonna sit, we're gonna talk, build on precepts, brothers drink, sip on some wine or something, but we enjoy each other. Those brothers that are in the truth, that are sincerely rehearsing the righteous acts, right? We enjoy each other. right? Because we all we got, right? The brother put a mighty precept, the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 13. That's right, verse 15. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. That's right. That's right. Hey, a brother, is going to cleave into you know, what he is comfortable with, right? He's not going to just sit there and say, oh, okay, no, I'm comfortable being a righteous man, but I'm gonna hang out with a wicked man. No, it's not even going to. Like I said, you might have to be in a situation where you have to endure it. You might have to, work with this person, or whatever the case may be. But you're not going to cleave to that. You're not going to come back. You're not going to sit there and pick his brain and want to build with him. You're not going to want that. It's not going to be your heart's desire. It's going to be your heart's desire to get up out of that thing. If you're going thus saith the Lord, if you're reading these precepts, living these precepts, you're going to want to get up out of there, man. Why? Because the brother, you're unequally yoked, right? So I read that. Oh yeah, okay. Ephesians, going back to it, 5 and yeah, I'll read from the top again. 5 and I'll start at verse 4. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. For this ye know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man, who is an idolater, hath any inheritance in the kingdom of God. Woo! In the kingdom of Hamashiach and of God. That's tough. No inheritance. You got you had your name on the list. Actually, you never had your name on the list. I'll just put it like that. Being real, the brothers here know, you know, everything is ordained from the foundations. If it wasn't there, it's never gonna be there. That's tough, right? Lord forbid where any of us brothers on this live right now are on that list, man, or not on the list. Most high willing, we are on that list, right? To receive that inheritance, they get that crown, right? Um, Verse 6, let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of Yahweh upon the children of disobedience. Be not ye therefore partakers with them. Why? Because there's a swift judgment. Khan, all right, there, hey, Khan, Wisdom of Solomon 15. Or 1 and 5. Khan, get that. But be ye not partakers with them. Why? Because there's a judgment, man. There's something coming for them, and we already know, man, what that is fire, right? This is the book, hey, mighty precept, book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 5. For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit and remove from thoughts that are without understanding and will not abide and when unrighteousness cometh, right? Come, mighty precept, right? Hey, what it say? That was mighty precept. The spirit of discipline will flee deceit, man. Hey, when you see that you're being tricked, and you're just staying down for the crown, and somebody's just vain babbling, and then you see that they're just deceiving you and just babbling, hey, you're gonna get up out of there, man. Why? Because what fellowship have the righteousness with the unrighteousness, right? All right. So abstain from all appearances of evil, right? That's what that's going into. Let's get the book of Exodus, chapter 23. All right, brothers know this is a classic, right? And verse 2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to rest judgment, right? So thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. You don't want to just be the in crowd, man. Accept it, right? Why? Because wide is the gate that leadeth into destruction, and narrow is the path that leadeth into life, right? Let's get there. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. So there's a wide gate that has many people leading into destruction, and they're going to say, come with me, like we just saw on the live before, previous to this. There was just two Edomites smoking a joint, Eve in the middle, and come with me. They're passing it a joint, right? So that's how this world is going to be. They're enticing you to come with them. There's many there that go in there at, right? Don't fall for it. They say in the world there's power in numbers. There's destruction in that number. There's a great mass of multitude of numbers of people doing wickedly. You have to see that through the spirit. You have to have discernment and look at things through a spirit of discernment and sincerity. Everybody is asleep while the elect up in this thing. Con, that's right. Hey, I ringed it, man. Shalom to all the 5 mighty viewers, man. Hey, getting the word through the spirit, man. Hey, I couldn't sleep. I'm getting on the live, man. Go through the spirit. Usually I read, go to sleep. But I say I'm up. I got time, right? And I know I look tired. I am tired, but I'm fighting the flesh through the spirit, right? To get out this word and wake up the hopeful elect, like the brother said, man. Because we waking up and we just need to be fed and led through the spirit, man. So I'm just, putting a brick in, right? So this is the book of John. Oh, we already got that. Salaki. Let's get the book of Sirach, chapter 34, and verse number 6, right? If they be not sent from the Most High, and thy visitation set not thy heart upon them, right? Hey, you don't be hasty to credit somebody. Con, the brother said, hey, con. And you don't be hasty to just credit somebody. If somebody's wanting to be in your presence or commune with you, you got to prove all things. You got to literally prove all things, all people, all situations. You got to prove what's good for your heart and prove what's not good for your heart and give not thy heart into it, right? That's the book of Sirach chapter 6 and verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him, right? Khan, shalom, to the hopeful elect. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Barakatah, right? So the Lord said, prove a friend, right? I was like, Nadi Akim, Khan, Mighty Akim. Mighty Akim in the chat, man. Khan. So the Lord said, prove a friend and be not hasty to credit him, right? So a precept in that was Sirach 34 and 6, we read it again. If they be not sent from the Most High in thy visitation, set not thy heart upon them, right? Don't give your mind. Don't sit there and have a communion with them. We're reading so many accounts in the scriptures where the Lord is admonishing and saying, hey, don't have a communion with the workers of wickedness, right? You have to prove what their righteousness, just for lack of better words, right? Let's get to the book of 2 Peter, chapter 2, right? I'm going to jump around in this book. Let me get a couple more. I'm going to wind down. All right, through the spirit. It's the book of 2 Peter, chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 7, right? This whole chapter, it's talking about separating from the wickedness. This whole chapter, right? Yeah, man. This whole chapter, man. I really want to, I'm not going to read this whole thing, right? But I'll start at verse 7. And delivered just Lot, vexed, right? So Lot was what? Vexed. Why? Because he was in Sodom and Gomorrah, man. You know how much wickedness Lot was just sitting there witnessing? He was just literally sitting. I mean, I'm led to believe he was plucking his beard out. Probably had bags under his eyes because he couldn't sleep. Because he just wanted to he was praying so much, man. Just get up out of there. Calling upon the Lord. Just constantly never got any rest, man. How long, Lord? Looking for and hasten to the coming of the Lord, man. All right. Vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, right? Because it's wickedness all around, man. It's wickedness all around us, man. We're in that spiritual Sodom, right? Like you read in the book of Revelations, right? 18, right? We're in spiritual Sodom, spiritual Egypt. Moreover, chiefly, we're talking about separating from wickedness, right? Being not unequally yoked, right? From the workers of righteousness, right? So those wicked spirits are back on this earth today. Lot is back on this earth today, being vexed as hell right now, Why? Because the damn conversation of the wicked. I mean, you can't get on anything. Social media, whatever you get on, man. It's just wickedness promoted through ads, damn, just commercials, everything, everywhere you look, man. It's vexing, you know, vexing as hell, man. I get the precept, the brother pull Galatians 3, right? Chapter 3 and verse 12. So like, yeah, man, that got me vexed already. Just thinking about I mean, cause we out here in the Bay, and it's heavy out here, man. This is like the chief. I would say, other than probably Atlanta, maybe LA, right? But this is like the chief house of Sodom. Literally, it's a bridge that leads to San Francisco, and soon as you get to San Francisco, man, it's buildings just painted with rainbows. It's just madness. Ads, just big billboards with men kissing, holding the baby. It's madness. Kind of brother, no, man. So this is the book of Galatians, chapter 3, and verse 12. And the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. Hamashiach hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. Yeah, Khan. So yeah, this is going into, not too deep. Being made a curse for us, for it is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree, that the blessings of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Yahweh Mashiach, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. Right. So this is talking about the Gentiles being the Gentiles, right? But it's just talking about the Mosaic law. But yeah, Khan. It's crazy out there. It's crazy in Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, vexed with the filthy conversation, man. Vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked because they're promoting wickedness at every beckoning damn turn, man. You look up, it's wickedness. We literally go out to Oakland at the lake, right? And there's so many sodomites out there. It's so crazy. I mean, it's vexing, man. It's like, brothers damn near be confounded. San Fran is the capital. It's the capital of Sodom. Brother said that bridge is a portal. No spiritual to spiritual wickedness. No Con. I mean, that it's madness. It really is because I mean, let's get that. Proverbs 12 and 26. And it's crazy because we see it on the front, we on the front line with it. Literally, I know brothers that drive over there damn near, daily, for their job, And I have to go. I heard my baby crying in there. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them, right? God, mighty precept. God. Right? And I'm gonna get a couple more wind down my baby in there crying. I think she woke up. The book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 22. Therefore, thus said the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. Con. Never shall Jacob be ashamed, right? Nor confounded. World without end. Con. Sodom back on earth. Sodom is back on earth, right? Now let's get the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 11. So like, I'm surprised she ain't crying. I know she's hungry. Now, no chastening for the present seemed to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth peaceable fruit of the righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. So this is just an admonition or an exhortation to those that are making that hard decision to separate from the workers of iniquity, right? It may be vexing, man. It may not be. You might know this person since you was a little kid, a jit, and now y'all known each other 20 years plus, 30 years. But now you come into the truth and you understand that they're not trying to come they're not trying to walk in righteousness, you don't want to be, you're not equally yoked. You don't want to be sitting there communing with them. Uh, what righteousness, what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness, right? Let me get a couple more. This Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. So all jokes aside, right? It's either one. You're gonna have to choose. We read that in Deuteronomy. You got to choose to serve the Lord, the blessings, or you're gonna have the curses, right? And that second death, you're gonna have to taste that, right? But call to remembrance the former days in which, after you were illuminated, ye endured a great flight of afflictions, right? So that might be your great flight of affliction, having to separate from your wicked friend, trying to get you to smoke the blunt, right? The book of Proverbs, chapter 24 and verse 10. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small, right? So, hey, man, don't be fainting in this thing, man. Don't faint and don't. So, like, let me go check on it. Yeah, so like it. So like, yeah. So don't faint, man. Don't have your faith being shown as small, man. The Lord is going to come back and render every man according as his work shall be. So if your works is, hey, you endure all things, your faith was a great, where you had to put aside wicked men, wicked women, just to prove your faith. The Lord is going to reward you a tenfold, man. All right. All right, I get that. The brother pulled Hebrews 1 and 7. The book of Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 7. And of the angels, he said, who maketh his angels spirits and his ministers a flame of fire. Come. His ministers are a flame of fire. All right, come. Hey, so getting back to it, man, I'm gonna close out. I'm gonna get two more precepts, right? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 52, verse 11, right? So these things, let me get Romans real quick, just to make it make sense. It's the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So we have hope in these scriptures, man. They're written for our learning. So we learn how to maneuver, how to operate as Israelite men, women, and children through the scriptures. And we have patience and hope that these things are going to come to pass. That's that faith. It has to be unwavering, though. You got to be 100%, like we were saying. You can't have 99.9. Hey, if you anything other than on fire, if you're not hot, all the way hot, the Lord is going to spew you out, right? If you stuck off of that side just 1.1%, the Lord is going to spew you out, right? So maintain that flame, right? It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 52, and verse 11. Depart ye, go ye out from thence, touch no unclean thing, go ye out of the midst of her, be ye clean that bear the vessels of the Lord, right? So the Lord is saying, hey, let's get this last precept. Brothers know this precept. I love this precept though. Hey, the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues, right? So the Lord is saying, depart ye, hey, and he's saying, come out of her, my people, be not partakers of her sins, because it's a lot of plagues. It's a judgment coming to this land. And if you loving it, and if you living it up right now, and you loving the ways of this world, and you're accepting their ways, their philosophies, and you're going to just continue in it, and you're gonna have to taste that second death with the world, right? So with that, I want to be a strong Kwame Ashala. The water to all the brothers tuning in, chiming in, and my hosts. Look at that real quick. Romans chapter 10, verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved, right? So I pray that all brothers continue to endure all things, man, for the hopeful election's sake, man. And we almost out of here. Akim, Aqua. Y'all be smooth. Keep it holy. All praise to the Most High. Shalom.